Now let's get into some comic books and books. We're getting trailers, finally, even though it's already underway, for DC's next big story arc, as well as, like I said in the very beginning of this episode, an unsurprising character getting their very own ongoing book, at least for now. Let's talk about that in a little bit more. So, welcome, nerds, to the comic books and book news for the week. This is where we talk about all things comic books and literature related. So if there's a new book coming out, we're not going to get into individual arcs necessarily, unless there's some sort of like major publisher-wide effects that are going to be related to said arc. We don't really get into individual arcs or individual issues. We just talk about the broader news at large. So without any further ado, let's talk about some comic books and possibly some books as well. Starting things off in trailers, we don't have follow-ups or anything to talk about. We do have a trailer, and that is Dawn of DC Night Terrors. What we learn in this trailer, even though, once again, the Night Terrors arc is going, the big DC-wide event is happening currently. It's going to be happening through the month of July and the month of August, and then it will come to an end, and then we'll get into the next one. But yeah, this trailer tells us one thing that I honestly didn't anticipate, and the night in the Night Terrors subtitle is not referring to the Dark Knight. It's not referring to Batman. It is referring to the sleepless nights that are the big villains for this story arc, which I'm kind of intrigued by a new set of villains. Hopefully it is a legitimate new set of villains and we get good character development and we get all of the things that we haven't been getting for villains for some time, because they're just finding ways to recycle existing villains into new names and new personas, and that's not fun. But yeah, I'm definitely intrigued by this. I'm probably going to pick up a couple of these books, and hopefully we'll have time to talk about it in the That Just Happened show. But right now, that's all we got, so let's move right along. We got regular-ass news next. Regular-ass news, we have one piece, and that is White Widow. And no, I'm not making a drug reference. So Yelena, I'm not going to say, Yelena Belova, the sister of Black Widow, kind of. She's getting her own series called The White Widow. It is going to be written by Sarah Gailey, who previously has written for Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Eat the Rich. The art will be coming from Alessandro Miracolo, who previously did art for Obi-Wan and Yoda, so super stoked about that, actually. The book launches November 1st, and I'm intrigued, mostly because of the art. I'm not gonna lie, I really don't know much from Sarah Gailey, and I don't really care for the character of White Widow. Just kind of personal preference, not anything against the character necessarily, but there you go. That's what we got for regular ass news. So now let's talk about suggestions for comic books and books, and we've got Batman Knightfall is the suggestion this week, because if you haven't read one of the most pivotal Batman books ever in existence. Actually, this is the first of three. You have Knightfall. I'm gonna brain fart the other two, so I'm not gonna waste your time. But Knightfall begins a story arc that is three pieces. This is the introduction of Azrael as Batman for a moment. This is when Batman breaks his back. You get to see all of that and how he heals, and this is just one of the greatest Batman books ever. So if you haven't read it, you absolutely need to. If you have and you haven't for a while, go back and refresh your memory as to how great Batman books used to be. Comes from writer Chuck Dixon, Joe Duffy, Alan Grant, Dennis O'Neil, and Doug Moench. That is your suggestion for comic books and books this week. Go check it out. Once again, nerds, this is just the comic books and books section from the Week in Nerddom, which is the much longer video that gets posted over on the main channel, youtube.com/generallynerdy or @generallynerdy, however you gotta find it. That's the main channel. You get the entire, usually around about an hour-long video there that goes into other topics as well, TV, movies, rumors, etc., etc. Go check that out. Before we leave you, though, always remember that if it's generally nerdy, it's probably here.